Give you a chance there. Lance, I wonder, as you kind of look at the big picture of this thing, what area are you most concerned about with this team heading into this week?
Biggest picture is we haven't played our best football at the time it's needed. You know, when you really look at it, we need, there's moments that we play some good football, and then there's times that certainly, especially late in the game here, where we need to be at our best and we're not. And that has to change. That's probably the biggest thing I'm concerned about.
With so many veterans, does that surprise you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I think at times yeah, we're not, it's not confidence or trusting our training or whatever, because there's times where we've done it and, we're not doing it at the most, like I said, the most, I don't wanna say opportune time, but when it's needed.
Thought about asking this earlier if you'd ever been through this type of thing, but you just have to go back to your first year here, and a lot of those same guys went through it too. What do you lean on to kind of pull yourselves through all of this?
Well, again, I think I've said it here before, Matt, is that, you know, I think sometimes what might get lost is we analyze everything even after wins, because you know there's wins that go your way that you didn't play well, and you always look at what you have to do to improve. And we tweak and we, you know, put an emphasis in practice. We put emphasis on fourth quarter at practice last week. Stopped practice and made it a point, talked about it in meetings, all those things. And so, you know, we continue to look to do those things of what we're doing. But again, fundamentally, there's things on both sides of the ball that we have to continue to coach better to get consistent results, because like I say, it's there at times and not at others, and it's, you know, it's on each side of the ball at different times of different things, so we just need to be better as a team at the most critical moments. I guess I'll keep going back to that.
Lance, when you look back at the last couple of games and rewatch them, is there anything that you feel like you regret not doing or doing?
Well, that's, you know, guys, that's, you know, that's the best thing about armchair quarterbacking, right? It's second guessing. You spend, no, again, what you'd like to do better, we look at an emphasis, and every coach can tell you, you know, there's X amount of time and that you get to meet, X amount of time you get to practice, and you kind of do it, and but when something's there, if you fumble, you want to make sure you're emphasizing as much ball security and strips and all those things, and you know, all those things we always continue to look at. So yeah, you always look at something. Is there anything, one thing completely other than the consistency of doing what we need to do better? Is there an area that you were referring to?
No, I mean, just looking back at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, again, guys, we always come back and look at it. I'll, you know, ask about something, or the coordinator's gonna ask, and we do, you know, we grade film, we summarize it, we talk about positives, negatives, where we have to be, who's played well, maybe who's playing too many snaps, where do we need to continue to maybe continue rotate, all those things. It's I promise you, it's not just because of these 3 weeks. It's been that way since we've always done it.
And then just looking at Jalen's performance against West Virginia, did you feel like he took a step forward in the
I do,
direction?
yeah, I do. I thought he played better. I thought he said, yeah, you know, there was an interception, but I thought he had a very solid game. I thought he made some plays for us. You know, but we didn't make enough what we needed to. You know, I look at it, I guess part of those, and that's as an offense, and as a team, we, you know, Melo got the interception, we go 3 and out. You know, we needed to be better in the 4-minute offense. So if you're going back at some things, yeah, you know, our 4-minute offense, you gotta be able to get first downs and run the clock out. But as far as Jalen, yeah, I thought he was better than the previous 2 weeks, yes.
As I'm curious, on the early film studies, what do you see from TCU?
Again, there's a team that's kind of, we talked about it with last week's opponent as well. I don't know what they were up, 17, 21 against UCF. UCF, comes back and wins, on the road. So, and then last week was a rivalry game that was a lot of explosive plays. Things kind of got away there, and so they're a good football team that's going to look to bounce back. That big win at Stanford, and they played Long Island, an FCS opponent, so they're in a spot kind of like we are. In this conference, as you can see from last week's results, that it's tough to win on the road. It's tough to get a lot of close games, and this is a team that's got an outstanding group of receivers, a good quarterback. As we said, this will be the best total receiving core and quarterback, I think, as a group that we've gone against. About 40 players, so I'll guess at least a third of them are 39, 40 were on their national championship roster. This is a team that's a year and a half away from playing for a national championship. So it's a good football team, and I know last season didn't go the way they hoped, and I'm sure there's disappointment in their meeting room as there was in ours today. But I know that Coach Dykes is an excellent coach, and they're going to get back to work, and we did as well. So it should be two hungry football teams.
You guys played on a Thursday and a Friday. It's tough to get high school recruits there. Has there been a challenge to get recruits to the games in Kansas City?
Like you said, the first two, kind of a hard barometer exactly, but we're expecting a big group this week, and excited for it. I know they've been excited from the time, and just through conversations, I think from here on out, I anticipate those numbers to be back where they normally are as far as game day visits. Of course, the tough part about it is you don't get to show this new facility or campus per se, but there are some that made plans to, if they're traveling into town, that they'll stay overnight and come here on Sunday. So we will get that, but it should be, from the start, it was an exciting topic for recruits to play at Arrowhead, and we're excited as well.
On the topic of Arrowhead, do you have a message for fans ahead of the first game there?
Well, messages, we appreciate our fan support, and they're needed as much as ever to make a difference. I know there's, if they're not disappointed or frustrated, they wouldn't be a fan, I mean, don't underestimate that that's part of what happens here, but hopefully they show up and are energetic and can help us when we need them, and they can continue to make a difference, and hopefully the same reason they believe in this university and program, and maybe if they're newer to jumping on, that they still see that this team has a lot of season to play and a lot of things. As I told him, you can't change I told him it's kind of like reading books or watching movies or something. There's some books and movies that start off really slow, and but they end up being, it's quite a story at the end, and I plan on this team being one.
You talked about one-score games, right, in the Big 12 in college football.
Yeah.
You played a lot going back to the middle of last year. Are there things that maybe can help over time? Maybe this is Matt, but are there things that they can learn over time that maybe help them long run?
You want it to be, right? Somebody told me we're 5-5 in one-score games going into this year. I was that accurate, and now we're 0-3 this year. You hope with, I think maybe the disappointing or frustration for anybody that's following our program would look at and say, you have this amount of returning players that if you've been through those would help carry you, but it's not it hasn't played out that way. And right now we've got to go back to like I I said, playing our best when it's needed, and coaching our best when it's needed, and finding a way, because just like anything is, you can get one, it'll lead to two, and then you get back here where you wanna be, and that's where we gotta have it happen, because I do think there's times where we might be a little hesitant, and I think there's time where we're trying so hard to make plays that we're not doing exactly, and there's some that we just haven't, it hasn't played out the way, because the other team does a good job too, and we've gotta make those all swing our way.
We talked about by Joe a few times during camp. He had the cast on. We saw him on Saturday without the cast. Do you feel like he has a role to play for you guys on defense?
Well, yeah, he was sick. What day was it? Thursday. And didn't make, he's in the building, didn't make it out on the field, so he just didn't know. But we got him in the game a little bit and made a play, and yeah, you hope he can add something to us in a lot in depth and things, but yeah, because we got to rush passer better, and especially with just four, and maybe he can give us that, and we're looking at ways that, again, everybody can help us. Like it kind of goes, you can mention anybody, and it's not off the table if they can help this team find a way to get better.
Shane Bumgarner is a guy that is in the rotation now on the offensive line, was out there on the last series. What has he shown you to kind of step into that role at guard?
Well, Shane had really strung together a few good weeks of practice, and these games have been pretty close of late, and so anytime making that first type of substitution sometimes isn't always as it's when are you going to do it? Sometimes you just bite the bullet and say third series, fourth series, you're going to make some changes. But Shane had put some good weeks together, like I said, at center and guard. Kobe didn't have his best game, and so we decided to make the change there in the first half. Nice thing about it, there was a nice thing about the weather delay and other things. You get a chance to really watch some of the game, and Shane did play well, and I thought he's earned himself the opportunity to get more rotational time in there, and that's what we hope, and hopefully that can make that offensive line, our offense, better. If we do maybe substitute a few guys and we're fresher in the fourth quarter, we looked at that as, we didn't protect Jalen very well early in the game, and I think that was, and again, anything that wasn't a quick throw, then kind of just throws the timing and confidence of what Jalen could do in the pocket and all those things. So I think we showed that up in the middle part, and then late in the game again, we didn't do it well.
With more time to look back on it, what did you think of putting Coach Grimes in the box and Coach Zabrowski on the field?
I thought it was. I don't think it was. I think it maybe was more comfortable for Jalen and Jim together in game, and but yeah. So like I said, both the guys have done it either way. So unfortunately, we didn't win the game. So again, we'll continue to analyze all things, including that.
Cornell got hurt at the end there. How's he doing now?
Cornell didn't practice today. So we'll see where it progresses with him. But he got hurt. He went back in, and then we took him back out. We'll see here. But again, a lot of guys are limited on Mondays.
And if he were unable to go, just who would you look to play the mic role and get the helmet
Well,
communication?
it would be between Taiwan and JB. They're Chris Simpson. He cross trains all those guys, so it'll be those two guys would take the lion's share of it.
Yeah, you mentioned watching some of the game during the rain delay or lightning delay. How did you spend your time? How did the team spend its time during the delay?
Well, time was you decent. I say it was decent. I was told there for a while that from the start it was 40 miles out, 30 miles out, and then it was getting closer. And then Michael Painter, our director of football operations, and along with the officials were saying that it looked like it was gonna be, it could be up to a 90-minute delay. So when we left the field, we had a good feeling it was gonna be a while. So we told them that they could, kind of get comfortable, but we got the pads and we could watch that. The coaches got together like it was a really long halftime or a thing, or a staff meeting, and talked about things, watched it, came up with, talks about how we're gonna progress from there. Some of it was just to get them off their players off their feet, have them have, fluids, food. Some of our our post-game meal had arrived, so we cut up some of the sandwiches for that because, again, the body's starting to get a little, when you go from pre-game meal, 4 hours plus before the game to that, so food, nutrition, some laid down, some, put their headphones back on, and tough thing is when, it's happened to us twice now when you're the away team, you're in a little more cramped space, but I thought we handled that part fine. Some guys were outside, the closer it got, they started stretching, riding, a few guys got on the bike and rotated on stationary bikes to use.
You mentioned going through this before. Did you do anything differently this time during delay because you've been through it before? Like any lessons learned or just ideas you had?
No, I mean, probably a little bit more, just because this one happened later in the game, the food aspect was probably that not just snacks that they wanted, but I can tell you who ate what, just talking, moving different spots, and, yeah, and they're just kind of waiting out to see how long it's gonna be, and I don't know if I saw anybody take their pads off per se, maybe they did, a few did, but, it's just comfort. You kind of worry. I asked the bus drivers to turn on the buses in case we had to spread people out, cool people down. But that was probably new. There's probably some other nutrition, sports medicine world. They might have changed a little bit, but.
Anything else for Coach Leipold?